Open your phone. Look at someone your age who is ahead. Now look at their starting line. You do not know it. That is why you feel behind. Let me show you the math. The feeling is real. I want to say that first. The feeling of being behind is one of the most specific and uncomfortable feelings a woman carries. It is not vague sadness. It is the precise, located pain of looking at where someone else is and then looking at where you are and feeling the gap like a physical thing. It sits in the chest. It follows you into the morning before you have fully woken up. It makes you scroll at midnight through lives that make yours feel like a rough draft. Black women carry this at a particular frequency, and because we are often comparing ourselves across multiple gaps simultaneously. Age, career, relationship status, finances, the life that was supposed to be here by now, according to a timeline nobody handed us, but everybody seems to be enforcing. And I am not going to tell you the feeling is wrong. Feelings are not wrong. They are information. But the information you are reading from this particular feeling is incorrect. Not because you are being too hard on yourself, because you are doing math with incomplete numbers. And when the numbers are incomplete, the answer is always going to be wrong. Let me show you the full equation. Why the behind feeling is structurally dishonest. When you look at someone who appears ahead of you, here is what you are actually seeing, their current position. That is it, one data point. You are seeing where they are standing right now, in this moment, on this particular metric, in this particular area of life. And from that single data point, you are constructing an entire narrative about your own inadequacy. You do not know when they started. You do not know what they started with. You do not know what they gave up, what they inherited, what they survived, what was handed to them, what cost them something you have never been asked to pay. You do not know if the area where they are ahead is the area that actually matters most to their own inner life. You do not know if they feel behind in something you cannot see. You are comparing your entire internal reality, every doubt, every setback, every complicated morning, to their external highlight. That is not a fair comparison. That is not even a comparison. It is a story you are telling yourself using one chapter of someone else's book while hiding your own. The comparison is not just emotionally damaging. It is logically broken. And once you see that it is broken, you cannot unsee it. Now, this is the starting line. Nobody posts. Here is what does not make it onto the highlight reel. The woman who owns the business at 32, the one you are measuring yourself against. Nobody posted the parents who funded her first 2 years of operating costs while she found her footing. Nobody captioned that. The woman who bought her house at 29. Nobody mentioned the inheritance that covered the down payment. Nobody disclosed the partner's income that made the mortgage possible on paper. The post just said homeowner with a key emoji and a grateful heart. The woman who got the promotion you wanted. Nobody documented the decade her family spent in the right neighborhoods, sending her to the right schools, building the network that made her name recognizable to the right people before she ever walked into that building. This is not bitterness. This is arithmetic. A Black woman who started with less, who built without the safety net, who navigated systems designed to slow her down and still made it to the same position, did not take longer because she was slower. She covered more difficult ground. The distance looks the same on the outside. The terrain was not the same. When you factor in the starting line, the gap you have been measuring disappears. In many cases, it reverses entirely. The math changes completely when you use all the numbers. I had a neighbor, let us call her Dominique. Dominique turned 37 and had what she described as a quiet crisis, not dramatic. Nobody would have noticed it from the outside. She was functional, even impressive by most external measures. But internally, she was running a constant comparison between her life and the lives of women she had gone to university with, women she followed online, women she measured herself against in categories she had never consciously chosen to care about. She felt behind in her career, behind in her finances, behind in the relationship she had not yet found, behind in a version of herself she thought she should already be. She came to a specific moment of reckoning during a conversation with her younger cousin, who was 24 and already anxious about being behind. And Dominique found herself saying, "You have barely started. You cannot be behind." And then she sat very quietly with the fact that she did not extend that same logic to herself. She decided to do an actual audit, not emotional. Practical. She wrote down the year she had genuinely started building the career she wanted, not the year she graduated, but the year she had the clarity and the stability and the access to actually pursue the direction that was hers. It was 4 years ago. She was 33 when she truly began. Then she looked at what she had built in 4 years from that starting point, with no family money, working through a global disruption that set nearly everyone back, navigating a field that had not historically made room for women who looked like her. She had built more in 4 years from her actual starting line than most people she was comparing herself to had built in the same window from theirs. She was not behind. She had been measuring from the wrong place. She told me, "I spent years feeling like I was failing a race I was actually winning. Like I just did not know where the race started for me." She knows now, and she runs accordingly. Let's all do the actual math. Let me make this specific. Vera Wang designed her first wedding dress at 40. Julia Child published her first cookbook at 49. Toni Morrison wrote her first novel while raising 2 children alone and working full-time. She was published at 39. Viola Davis did not win an Oscar until she was 50. Oprah Winfrey was fired from her first television job and told she was too emotionally invested in her stories. These are not consolation prizes. These are data points that the conventional timeline erased when it told you that your value is measurable by how much you have accumulated before a specific birthday. The timeline you are measuring yourself against was not designed with your life in mind. It was not designed with Black women in mind. It was not designed by anyone who had any understanding of what it actually costs to build something real from a starting point that most timelines do not account for. Here is the math that actually matters. How long have you been actively, intentionally building toward the thing you want? Not how long you have been alive, not how long you have been aware of the gap. How How long have you been genuinely in motion? For most women, that number is smaller than the age they are using to measure themselves, because most of us spent years surviving things, navigating things, recovering from things, before we had the clarity and the resources and the permission, internal permission, to actually begin. Your clock started when you started, not when you were born. Wait. Measure from there. You are not behind. You are at the exact position that makes sense, given your starting line, your terrain, the weight you have been carrying, and the length of time you have genuinely been in motion. When you do the full math with all the numbers, not just the ones the comparison makes visible, the story changes. You have not been slow. You have been covering ground that most timelines were never built to account for. Keep going. Not because you are catching up, because you are already further along than the incomplete math told you. The proof was always in the full equation. Now you have it. If this hits something real in you today, do not let it sit in a tab. Share it with a woman in your life who needs to hear this specifically. You already know who she is. Shine My Crown is where we come to tell the truth, in the whole truth, about what it actually takes to build a life that is genuinely yours. Subscribe so you never miss a conversation that matters. We will see you in the next one. And thank you genuinely for being here.